All right. Um, Hello to anybody who is going to be watching this. I don't know how long from now, but I tried to make a video earlier or like a couple weeks back on my phone, but it never was able to upload. So I thought it would be best to just do a live video of me sharing my testimony. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get started. But to give clarification, I will be talking about some very sensitive topics. Oh, the live just started. So I will be talking about some very sensitive topics in this live and things dealing with you know, just like sexual immorality, perversion, and stuff like that, and a lot of trauma, eating habits, eating disorder kind of thing. So just to make you all like aware of like what I'm going to be talking about during this video, just so like you have an understanding what I'm going to go into. So I'm going to get started. So this is my testimony of me and how God has like I guess brought me to where I am now in my life. And I'm going to first start off talking about myself as like a real young child. So I'm going to start off with preschool because that's where everything kind of started. So off the bat, we're going kind of strong here. So in preschool, I was in an incident where a another student and I, during our little nap time, did some things that were not appropriate. They like touching and stuff. So that kind of happened during that time period. And from there, that kind of like spirit and like that like way of perversion kind of entered into my life because before then I was never exposed to things like that. I was pretty normal child, didn't get into nothing. But after that, everything kind of like shifted. So going into like kindergarten, I would say nothing really happened in kindergarten. Like I don't remember like from myself what happened because I don't really even remember like that school year. But with first grade, I do remember I was very like mean and like an angry child. I was very mean to my teacher. I was very mean to my like classmates. Like I remember someone said like hi to me and I told them like to shut up afterwards. Like I was just very like I was a very like I could say I don't know if I was demon possessed, but I was very like mean as a child during first grade, especially. I never really got to go to recess or to lunch because I was always in timeout in my teacher's classroom just for my like outbursts, my behavior, just constantly doing things to just get people angry and like riled up, and it was just a very it was a very hard time during that time period because I think that was just a manifestation what happened to me in preschool kind of coming to fruition, like in the physical form. And so, yeah. But basically, after first grade and all that, I got disciplined by my parents because I had really terrible grades and stuff. So around second grade, I had got my act up together or whatever. Like I started being more reserved and shy, I guess, to make sure I wasn't, doing those things anymore. I didn't have a desire to do that anymore anyway because I knew like how much I had hurt people and stuff with my behavior. So basically in second grade I was very reserved, very shy. And then in second grade I had an incident where I had like a second grade birthday party, like all the girls from my class or like my grade, like some of them like a lot of them came over to my little birthday party I had. It was like fashion show theme. And I had a little birthday party and then we had a sleepover. And I think during a sleepover, like some girls did some things like the top like bunk bed in my room. I don't know if I participated with them, but I feel like something happened with them up there. Like I seen something, but I don't know if I don't remember me participating, or maybe I did. I don't know. I don't remember. But that was also another incident of like perversion happening, just like kids doing stuff we're not supposed to be doing. And then basically from there, I think in like from preschool to second grade, like two more incidents happened where I did things with other classmates. I know one was like on a field trip, and then another one was like an after school program. Like we did the same thing that we're not supposed to be doing that was not right. So those were other two other incidents that happened that occurred. And then I want to say by third grade and fourth grade, everything was pretty much decent. I was just like a very still shy and reserved child. I just kind of kept to myself at that point. I cried a lot if anybody said anything to me. Like I was very sensitive and just kind of cried at like the littlest things like someone could say to me. And I remember, I think it was third or fourth grade. I seen the same kid who I had an incident with in preschool. I seen him like walk into our classroom and like he was like with an administrator or something. They were like holding him like by the hand, I guess, or like shoulder. And he just looked really like distraught. Like he just looked like he just got into trouble or something. But I remember we made eye contact because I was sitting at my desk and he just came in, I guess, to get work. And like, he made eye contact with me and like his face like completely changed. Like he just looked at me kind of like that, like what, like because I think at that point we both knew like what we had did at that point, like we were younger. Because I haven't seen him since then. Like after that incident, I really don't remember ever seeing him. But that was like me seeing him after those few years, and he just looked very like I don't know, very hurt because like obviously something happened to him or to make him, you know, I'm not blaming him because he's a child also, but like I know something was most likely happening to him at the time as well to make him act out like that. And it was just very sad to see because like I did not see him at all like in school after that, but like he was still kind of around basically, but he just wasn't in the class with us. So I was still around or whatever, I guess, in the classroom. Um, and so after that, I wouldn't say during that time period, I kind of did things with family members. I'm not going into detail about stuff, but like people around, you know, I want to say, I don't want to get into detail, but I was doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing. We both weren't supposed to be doing that. And that was also like the spirit of perversion and like me getting into those things around that time period because I was just exposed to it. So I just kept doing it with anybody who was doing it with me, basically. Um, but once that like happened or whatever, like I went into fifth and sixth grade. And fifth and sixth grade, where I really got into doing things that I should have not been doing again with family members. And that was probably like a really hard time in my life because I it was just a lot going on during that time period. My family and I were transitioning states and stuff, so it was just a lot going on during that time. But I basically did things with people, my family members. Just gonna leave it at that, and that happened during that time period. And I all of a sudden in seventh grade, um, a person of a higher authority figure or whatever in my family, I um, got into doing this with them. However, I was still a child and they were a full grown adult. And I knew at this point by seventh grade, I was just looking for love or affection or like attention from somebody because growing up, a lot of times my parents were always at work or something like that. So we just kind of went like, we would always see them when they get home. It wasn't like they weren't absent in our life, but like we were always with other family members and stuff like that because of the fact that like they're at work and they need somebody to watch us, while they're at work and things like that, like my mom and dad. So this person, they stayed, they were very close with us during this time. They were like staying with us in seventh grade. And basically, I don't know how we even ended up getting into doing all that, the perversion stuff, like touching, molestation, basically. But I feel like looking back at it, there were like events leading up to this. Like whenever I would come in contact with this person, the way I would like walk by them or something or like touch them, I could just kind of tell like, okay, this was leading up to this because they were kind of, I guess, getting a feel for it or like they were already into it or whatever. But basically, I ended up doing this thing with this person And this lasted for like a few months, I feel like, and it would just happen like anytime given when my parents weren't home. And then I remember one night they were home, but it was like nighttime and we were watching TV. I went into the front room to like do the thing or whatever with them. And um, basically my parent parents caught like the incident happening, and it kind of like from there it was just kind of like a whole scene because like what are you doing and stuff. And this person was like removed from our family or whatever for a little bit, for a little while because of the incident that had happened. And from that point forward, it really made me see like, oh, this is not right. Like I'm not supposed to be doing this. And from there, I became really aware of like what I was doing and like what was happening. And it took me a lot to talk about this because I don't really see a lot of testimonies of people talking about these type of things. But I recently seen somebody with like the same type of testimony, literally similar to mine. And I'm like, you know what? I really prayed to God, like, God, if you show me somebody who got a testimony similar to mine, or exact, I'll share my testimony. And they literally had like the exact same testimony, kind of. So I'm like, okay, I'll share my testimony. But it took me a while to like really come to terms with what had happened and what I was doing when I was younger. It made me realize, oh, okay, this is not right because this is this. And from there, I just felt really uncomfortable after the incident at seventh grade. Um, and this was like towards the end of my seventh grade, like it was happening throughout my seventh grade year or whatever. And then basically from there, in school, I was kind of like shy, very quiet and reserved. I went through bullying and stuff. I don't know, cause like I want to go more into detail about these things, but I really want to focus on like the perversion part of my life that I had before. So yeah, still focusing on that. Like I was a very quiet student. I really didn't try to get into anything. And seventh grade was just a really hard year because on top of me going through that and like doing those things, like I had a teacher who was just like very kind of like vile and like just kind of mean to me for no reason because I was just quiet because I was just going through things and I don't think they were not aware of that because I never told them that. But it was just like so much was happening. Like it was like it was like what can get worse, you know? Like it was just so much happening. Like I didn't like school, I didn't like home, and so I feel like I used that as a release to feel some happiness, but that wasn't the right way to do it. And yeah, seventh grade was just a really hard year, but once I came to realization of like what had happened and like, you know, the things that were like going on that knowing that that wasn't right, you know, doing that with that person, um, it made me feel very disgusted with myself because I never told my parents before like about what I did when I was younger, like with my family, other family members. They only knew of that incident, and so it just made me feel disgusted for a couple years because it's like, ew, like I didn't realize it was like, you know, I was doing it because like I just wanted to, but like I didn't realize it was like, I don't know, of that nature, I guess. And I was very disgusted with myself um, for a very, very, very long time. I was very depressed. I was still very reserved in school. I didn't really associate or talk to anybody. Like eighth grade, I was still like, I had like friends, I guess, but like I just kept quiet about everything because I thought that would keep me safe. I started doing that in like sixth grade. I started keeping quiet about a lot of things. And then when the thing happened in seventh grade, I really became reserved and like cautious of like me not sharing nothing about my life because I didn't want nothing to come up and like people know like these things that had happened to me or stuff like that. But going from there, I was a very like I was very sad. Like I know freshman year, I went to two different high schools, and that was a very dramatic change for me. And then towards like the end of freshman year, we ended up moving, and so I went to my third high school my sophomore year. And at that point, I was used to moving around a lot. Like we moved around a lot as a family growing up. I experienced the same thing in middle school. I went to three different middle schools, and I was I guess I got used to like transferring a lot, but I knew at this point this was like the final like transfer because I'm gonna finish out high school at this place. But I had no more like hope or passion to like make friends and stuff. Just through everything I had been through, I'm like I don't want nobody to get close to me. I don't feel comfortable with nobody getting close to me, things like that. And so by the time, and also like I had incidents where it's like a teacher was like kind of inappropriate with me. I'm not gonna get into detail about that, but like it was just incidents where it was like perversion was just like around, even when I was trying to like not be in it. Like when I was trying to escape from it and like you know stop those things, it was like manifestations through other people I could see. But that was just one incident. I don't think I had any other ones. So not I'm not gonna not that I can think of or like can tell right now, but it was just kind of like, bro, like I don't know. It was just weird because I'm like I'm trying to get away from this, and it just seems like I don't know. I think people took my quietness as a way of being like, oh, I can do whatever, but it's like no, you can't. But um, my sophomore year of high school, I had an art teacher, and she would let me stay in her classroom because I did not like going to lunch. I tried to go to lunch one time, and I sat with a table and it was awkward because I didn't say nothing to them. And so from there, I'm like, I'm not gonna do that again. So I sat in her classroom, but then she like encouraged me to go back to the lunchroom, but I didn't want to go because I'm like, I don't want to be seen alone, because then it's really gonna like have me like I guess cry or whatever. I was very emotional at that time, very timid, very scared. So I'm like, any exposure of like being alone, any exposure of somebody knowing that I'm alone would like I feel like cause me to like trigger myself to like react in a very emotional way, like cry or whatever. I'm like, and then I was like, no, I don't want to even go there. I didn't tell her that, but I'm like, I really try to avoid going to the cafeteria, so I would sit in the bathroom and eat sometimes. And there was somebody else in there doing the same thing too, so it was just like I had some company, but that was not a fun time. That was the worst year of high school. My sophomore year, I did not like that year of high school. But that was basically sophomore year. Now junior year, things turned around a bit for me. I made some friends. I was able to sit at a table and stuff like that and like associate with people. And it was nice because like I could relate to them. I didn't feel like standoffish or like I didn't matter or like I was an outcast or didn't relate to them. It was just nice to finally have friends to like talk to and associate with at lunch. And it wasn't every day, but it was still nice to just have people to talk to. I spoke out more and things like that, and it was really nice. However, once my junior year ended, I that summer I was in my bedroom just watching videos, and then something on my timeline on YouTube came up that triggered my past. And from that point forward, I literally could not like keep it in no more. So I ended up telling my mom everything of what happened to me as a kid. I told my parents and the truth about the incident in seventh grade, how like I let them do this to me or whatever, this person. And after that, it was just kind of like I was apologizing to people, reaching out to people to be like, I'm sorry for, these things that we did. We were younger or whatever. And it was just a lot because like I was so ashamed and so like God, like, oh my gosh. It was just even like to this day, like I was just like so like burdened down with shame about things that happened. But I was a kid, and then this person who was an adult figure, um, they seen obviously this is a sign of like me needing help, and this me doing that with them wasn't a way to get help. And instead of taking the opportunity to teach me like, no, Michaela, this is not right, they played into that. And just knowing this person, already went through some stuff themselves, but also like had I want to say like occurrences. It's like so it's like people in my family through me telling like what happened to me, I found out some things like, oh, okay, like this is not the only thing that happened. Like this occurred basically it occurred before. I'm just gonna be honest. But I'm like, so literally this person was allowed around, I feel like the family, and it's just kind of like it shouldn't have been that way because when I came out about what I had done, people took precaution and were aware of like what happened, and they were very cautious of like, no more sleepovers, no more none of that stuff. But it's like when I came out about what happened to me with this person was so allowed to come around and stuff, and it made me feel dumb and stupid for a bit because it's just kind of like I don't think nobody was intentionally trying to like be mean to me, but I felt like things were trying to be swept under the rug and just kind of like, go about your life, even though this happened or whatever, don't, go about talking about this, all that type of stuff. But it's just kind of like, it just made me feel very hurt because it's like, did nobody care about what I went through? Like, people, of course, I respect people for being cautious for like what I had been going through when I was younger and stuff and like what I had did, but it's like with this person, what they did to me is like nothing was taken into consideration, and it made me just feel like no one really understood my emotions and like my feelings about the situation. And it was just weird because like I would hug this person after telling my family like all of this stuff, like I would still like hug this person and stuff like that. And it's like people would look with caution, but it's like they still like this person was still just like allowed to, come around and stuff. And it was just very weird. And it made me very uncomfortable. Like I know I'm supposed to forgive people, but it just made me very uncomfortable because I never forced myself upon nobody to hug me about anything. So it's like, why am I feeling like I have to do the same thing? You can't like the basically what I'm trying to get by is by saying like you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't like violate a person and then feel like you still could come around and like be in their presence and still want to see them. That's just not fair. That's not right to that person. Expect respect privacy. I never expressed that when I was a teen. So once that happened my junior year, the end of my junior year, going to my senior year, I feel like I did pray to God that summer when I was summer. That's why the testimony is called at 17 because this whole incident happened when I turned around the age of 17. And going to my senior year, God really started working on me. He really wanted me to get rid of my music. I listened to a lot of like indie alternative music, very depressing, sad songs. Y'all know that time period from like 2017, 2018, a lot of like what's called bedroom. Like people making all them like songs or whatever about that stuff, like alternative indie being popular at that time. And so God really kept working on me during that time to like get rid of music. I was getting rid of some music, like the ones with curse words, but I wasn't getting rid of those songs that had like maybe no curse words, but had like that like depressive like tone to it or like lyrics to it. And that was very hard for me to get rid of because I would use music in high school to drown out like reality. Like to go to every single different class, I would use music to like kind of help me not feel like anxious while walking to my other class or whatever. And it was really very hard for me to like get rid of that type of music. And then I started introducing to myself like Christian music that I listened to when I was a kid or whatever. I put that on my playlist. So I'm like, okay, I can listen to this during my transitions to different classes to kind of help me. And that was senior year. I basically just went through that. Just I feel like God really that entire year was just kind of pruning me. I didn't really seek the word that year, um, but because I was trying to like apply for colleges and stuff. But I ended up not going away to college. I did community college, and then what else I was gonna say? I didn't go to prom because I just did not want to go. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I don't want to go more into detail about why I chose that to not go, but I just didn't go to prom or anything like that, and it was just a lot happened around that time. And that summer, literally, to help me like not be in the house all day and like think on like the things that happened in my childhood, I went to work with my parents, and that kind of helped because it helped me get out the house and like not be in the house all day. But then by the time I got to college, my freshman year, I was doing okay, I guess. Like I was still kind of like I don't know, but I was like almost getting into like some situationships, like stuff that almost happened with like people my age, but I stopped that because I'm like I was just uncomfortable because of my past. I didn't want nobody close to me, so that kept me being that cautious kept me from like having people get close to me. And then basically like my freshman year of college, I got into a cult. Okay, I joined a Hebrew Israelite thing. I was at home all day, so like I don't know, I was just watching videos on YouTube, and I don't know how I even got interested in it. I just seen some videos, and I was like, I agree with this. Instead of seeking God, because I remember like I seen one video and then another video on YouTube, and I know the other video God wanted me to watch, but instead I watched this other one, and literally this led to my demise during that time period. So I was in this cult. I was very mean. I was a bully. I was all these things to my family, my parents, and I was just like very disrespectful. I like I said, I'm talking about like eating disorder stuff, so be cautious. I remember I would do like fasting, but I would do extreme fast like multiple times, and I would like not eat for 3 days, and I would be in my bed just like rotting, sitting in my bed. No, I'm gonna be feeding for saying that. I don't want to say that. I'll just sit in my bed like just like sitting there, like just like sitting there. But yeah, I'm sorry for saying rotting. I don't want to make it a triggering for anybody, so please forgive me for that. But basically that's what happened. I was in this cult. I was following them, trying to do all the little Old Testament followings of like the Sabbath day to the extreme. I would literally not go. I mean, I think you are supposed to have a Sabbath day, but like I was doing like extreme. I was doing like extreme. Like I was doing like no leavened bread. Like I was doing unleavened bread. I was following the Old Testament that God gave to them to the T. Like I was basically like that's not, I believe, required anymore. Like we don't have to eat unleavened bread, for fasting. You may make you make altercations, but like I was just doing too much. Okay, so that's what I was doing. And in 2019, I was still in this cult. I was scared also to like eat regular food because I felt God was going to judge me for eating like certain type of seafood, certain type of meat, and I was just very scared, and that kept me from eating a very healthy, balanced diet, and that's why I lost so much weight. I lost so much weight. I'm not gonna say the amount, but I lost so much weight, and it's when I look back at pictures, I'm like, dang, I was really that skinny. Um, but and I gained all back. My doctor was like, "How you gain all back?" Like, girl, that was the unhealthy me. So that wasn't like my natural weight or whatever. That was underweight me. That I did not feel healthy at that weight. But yeah, after that happened, I want to say 2019. I was still in a cult, still following it, but I was very like depressed, still very sad. I was working random jobs on college. Ended up leaving that job to go to another job. And then with that job, I quit over the phone. Then I tried to get it back on the phone. I was just like, my man, I was just doing a lot of stupid stuff. Okay. Like, I was, as the word says, like, I was going to and fro, had a wavering mindset, doing whatever I wanted to do. I had a very unstable mind about things. And then, like, from there, COVID had happened around my birthday. Like literally, I think the day of my birthday, I had like a science lab, and then after that, it was COVID, and then I was just kind of like no school for the rest of that uh, community college era. And I was actually kind of happy because my mom wanted me to go to the graduation. I'm like, I'm not going to the graduation. I'm only going to my 4 year college graduation, and I'm happy because I did not go. We didn't have a graduation, which I was fine with because I'm like, I don't want to go to I didn't want to go to the graduation too. I didn't want to do all that paying and stuff for all that. But I went through that. And then I kind of, over the summer, started to realize I'm not walking right with God. I just was examining the things I had done that past year or two and realizing, you know what, this is not of God. And I basically from there, I gave my life to Christ, like truthfully started following him in the way he wanted me to because I allowed myself to be led astray by a cult, so that kept me it pushed me back a little bit. And in 2020, that summer, it made me think like, you know what, I need to follow God the right way. And I felt guilty because I still had some of those beliefs of like the following I was in, like the thing. Well, because there are some people in this, I guess, cult or this following that are genuine people, but then there's people who are like really like rough, like the people on the street and stuff who be like, yelling at people in the purple outfits. Like I was like into that, and I was just very mean to everybody, like even random people. I was mean to this pizza man one time. I asked him help. Like I was just so mean for no reason, bro. It was just so annoying. But gave my life to Christ, and then I went away to school. And at school, I was still dealing with things. Um, I had a roommate, and there was a disagreement about really the like temperature in the apartment. And from there, I was just mean to her. And after like that incident had happened, we had a discussion or whatever, and I apologized for what I had done because I knew I was wrong. And yeah, I was just mean, like just doing mean stuff. And I was just like, bro, like what is wrong with like me? Like I was just being very mean for no reason to people, and just I was just not in the right headspace. I was not in the right headspace to be around the people at that time, and I needed help because one of my roommates told me like, "Girl, you need to get help." After I told her some how I felt, and the way I felt was not right. But um, from there, I was like, maybe I do need some help. And then from there, that next year, I got into it again with a roommate of mine, and that was my mistake. And then we tried to settle it, but then it was like they were still kind of doing stuff afterwards. So at that point, I was just kind of like, this is payback for what I did last year, and just I'm just gonna ignore it at this point because I can't do nothing about it. So that's basically what happened during that period of my like first 2 years at school. I had a job. Um, I didn't get the position that I had wanted, and then I was working as a dishwasher. I was very upset and mad, and I ended up like quitting on him. Like I didn't sign up for this, blah, blah, blah. And it's like no one would like help a little bit. Cause like yes, I'm responsible for the dishes, but it was like no one would help with like cleaning off everything. I just felt like I just didn't like that job. It just wasn't fair. So I left that. I had tried to get me a job at a coffee shop. Only worked there for like honestly a week or two, and then ended up getting fired because the people who hired me on, they didn't realize their manager did not uh, need people really to be hired on during that time period. So I was let go. But I was really excited to work that job because I actually liked the coffee job at my campus. But when I transferred universities, and then what else happened? Um, Yeah, that was my rebellious era, being very mean to people, and just I realized at that point I really needed some help. And so I would say my last semester of college, or like my second to last semester, and then that last semester, I pretty much got my act together. I was a lot more respectable. No, I was still doing stuff that last semester, but then that actual last semester, I really got my act together, and I was changing and stuff like that before I left school. And then I graduated, and there was that. And then after graduation, I was basically at home for like the first, honestly, 2 months without a job. And I ended up finding a job at Amazon around February when I graduated. And then I graduated in the winter. And so then I found a job like at Amazon in fall. I mean, in the winter, February, because I needed some money. And I'm just going to sit at the house all day. And I was searching for jobs, applying for places. I was gonna actually do an internship, but they didn't pay, so I ended up not going through with that. It was kind of last minute, but I was like, I have no guarantee of being able to move out here or whatever. So I don't want to lead them into believing that I could do this job. So I just kind of said, I call it quits, sorry, or I'm not able to do it, or I apologize. And that was that. But um, I ended up getting a job at Amazon. It was really far from my house. It was like an hour drive, and I worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I worked one Saturday shift, and even though I had finished the shift and like made my little money, I felt so sad. I'm like, I do not want to do this. I do not want to work. It was only 3 days I was working, but it was just kind of like I knew this is not where God wanted me to be. I'm like, this is literally the most depressing thing ever, and I did not like it because I would work like from 9 a.m. to 6 because they had like these big old like lunch break gaps, like hour gaps, like two of them. So that's why we was freaking here all day. It was just annoying. Like I don't want to be here all day. But after that, um, I found a position from Amazon like closer to my house, and I worked there for a solid 6 months, almost 6 months, I think. And the only reason I ended up staying there that long is because my sister started working there with me over the summer when she had got finished with school or whatever, and that kind of helped me because I would have been left that job had I not had her there with me. But I think the only reason I left is because so many people started getting like let go, and I was like, oh, y'all not gonna get me. So I basically just left afterwards. Like this is my last day. I was literally in the middle of a shift, and I was like, you know what, I'm finished, and I just left. Because that's the thing about Amazon, you can literally see somebody walk out, and you don't know if they quitting or if they just taking a break or if they just leaving early. You just never know. People could walk out and you never see them again. That was my case that day I left. And then I had applied for some other positions, and I prayed to God, like, God, if you give me these positions, I will do this thing in exchange for you because God's been calling me to do something for him. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but God's been calling me to do something for him, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it if you let me get this job. I did not do that thing, but I did get those jobs. However, I ended up leaving one of those jobs abruptly. Again, doing things with a wavering mindset, just not thinking consciously, like just walking out of a job and like being like, no, I'm not coming back. And it was just weird. Like I was just doing weird stuff. And yeah, that happened. And then when I still had the other job working. This is like over a year ago. No, this was last year, 2023. I got this other job. I really liked it. I was excited because I'm like, I'm gonna pay off my credit card, all this other stuff that I spent money on. I'm gonna pay off my credit cards and stuff with this job, and I'm gonna get me like, back on my feet or whatever. I could like see myself growing in this position. And I got into a car accident on 9/11. Like, how convenient is that? If you're in Chicago, I was on Lakeshore Drive, and literally, like, it was raining that day, and someone just, like, rear-ended me from the back. And from there, I had to do physical therapy, um, had to rent a car. My car was totaled. It was just a lot. I'm like, bro, like, I literally was aiming to pay off debt, like, get debt-free or whatever from, things I accumulated debt from over those past couple of years. Because I'm because basically, like, I got like loans in college, and I really only accumulated loans when I went to my 4 year university. So it was like, I'm like, like soon I want to pay off, my school debt and all that. I was aiming to do all that, and then that incident just happened. I was like, you know what, just forget it. I was very sad and depressed at that time, going to work and things like that because it was just like so much unnecessary stuff I felt like was happening. But I really wasn't seeking God like how I should have been. Like I was not really consistent in my word with him. I was not fasting. I had not fasted since I was in that cult and I was doing those like extreme fasts. I haven't done it in a sincere fast, I'll say. Because those fasts were sincere, but they were not in the right context. They were not done with the right heart. So even though I did complete those fasts truthfully, they weren't like to God kind of, I feel like. I mean they kind of were, but like I wasn't in the right heart space doing those fasts. And then from there, after this incident happened with the car, I went to work still and stuff. And then again, after I got me a new car in December, which I really felt like I wasn't ready to get a new car. I felt kind of rushed buying this car because now I got a car now and I don't like it. That car got hit. I was on my lunch break and someone just hit my car in the back, and the dent is still there. I want to get it fixed so badly because I don't like looking at it, but I'm just like, you know what, this is too much. And I was just like, bro, like what is going on? And I think during that winter break season, I really just started to like try to figure out like I knew something had to change like my environment because I was just like clearly I'm not supposed to be here in this state no more in Illinois, or I need to like, tap in with God through fasting and prayer. I still was not fasting and praying during this time. I think I attempted to try sometimes, but I always fail and like just intentionally go and eat something because I was like, oh, I feel a little lightheaded. Let me eat some instead of like following through with the fast. But around January, I applied for this job, a teaching position, and then from there, I didn't tell my parents or nobody that I chose the state I'm in now to like teach there. I just kept it quiet because I'm like, I don't want nobody speaking against what God may have for me or whatever. We'll see if it's from God, it's gonna work. If not, then it won't or whatever. And I wasn't even like going to go with this state at first. Like I knew I wanted to go somewhere that was a little more of a better climate, weatherly, because Chicago weather in the winter, I was so over it at that point. I'm like, I don't want to be here during winter. I can't take it no more. And so I wanted to go somewhere sunny and nice that had, decent weather, to wear simple clothes or wear like fall clothes during those winter months and not coats because I don't really like wearing. I mean, I like coats, but I don't like wearing it all the time. But yeah, I wanted to move somewhere sunny and stuff. And I'm like, how am I gonna move here anyway? But honestly, the only reason why I'm here is because of like the car accident and like having some funds from that. That's only the reason why I'm able to be in the state I'm at right now. And on top of them giving me like grants to kind of like come here. I don't want to get too much detail about my information, but like that's kind of like how I was able to make this move because I was gonna stay at home still. If I had not had no like money or whatever to like move out of state, I would have just stayed in state and moved somewhere then or whatever. But I knew honestly, I don't know, I'm still kind of unsure if this is like God's will in my life for me to be here because like I fasted over the summer of me coming here and the fast changed my life. I was originally fasting for something else, but then all my trauma came up and that's really why I'm making this video because all that cleansing and stuff brought me to finally sharing my own testimony about what was going on in my personal life. And I feel a lot better. Um, I feel like God definitely has been telling me to seek out a therapist, and I have because at first I was like, I'm not telling nobody what happened to me. I'm not telling nobody what went on in my life. I'm not, telling my business to nobody. And I finally sought out a therapist for myself, and I really like the person that I work with. I feel like they're very helpful for me in my walk, and I feel like this is what God wants me to do. So I'm being obedient, and I have a therapist. And right now, I would say I do have a job. Um, it took me a while to finally find one. That's why I was so unsure of like if this was God's plan for me. Still not sure, honestly, because I'm like, God, I really want a teaching position, so help me get one, please. And I went to this interview and I got it. And I was so happy because I'm like, all that work paid off. That work that I needed to do paid off because God is always going to do his part. He's just waiting for us to do ours. Like there has to be a two-way street. You have to mesh with God and do what he wants you to do in order to see the manifestations or whatever it is that he wants in your life. And that's what happened for me. And through that, I'm just in that state right now where I'm just kind of like, I'm going to be starting work and I'm really happy. I'm still like healing I really am healed from my past. Like I'm healing through therapy, talking over things and things like that. But I just felt led to share this testimony because I always said this. I never seen nobody talk about molestation, um, and testimonies a lot. And I feel like if I can help somebody like that girl testimony I seen talk about it, it helped me. I know this video can help somebody out there, and I hope it heals you. I hope you can seek out help, therapy, just something, a source to help you get healed and delivered. And yeah, right now I'm in church. I need to get involved because I'm a little bit reserved. I need to start getting involved in church because I'll be going to church and I'll leave right after. I'll be like, I do not want to talk to nobody. I mean, not that I don't want to talk to nobody, but I'm like, I don't want to talk to nobody because I feel like I'd be awkward. But I need to come out of my shell because I've been quiet and shy my whole life. So I need to come out and get involved in things. And I could just see God's hand in my life through everything. Like He's really been helping me get healed and like basically just walk in freedom because my mind was in like shambles for so long. Like my mind was so unstable doing, as you can see from what I said earlier in all my incidents. I was very unstable, leaving jobs, doing stuff, being mean. I was just not a stable person and I needed help. And so God is helping me get that help. And I appreciate God helping me. So I want to help somebody else through this testimony. I hope you seek help. I hope you seek deliverance. I hope you seek out prayer, fasting. Talk to God about what fast you should do. Don't just go on doing things and you don't have prior knowledge. Talk to your doctors, all that type of stuff to make sure what you're doing is conducive for you. And yeah, I feel I feel very content. I feel very happy right now. Although I still am like, going through discussions with my therapist about things. I could see this is where God wants me. He has me where he wants me and I'm very happy with that. But I hope you all enjoyed this testimony and I really appreciate anybody who watches this and I pray you give it a like and share it to anybody who may need it and yeah. Thank you so much. Bye.